Hello, my torn-out athletes, and welcome to another runway we softly call the Tube. Tonight we've got a super special show, and I'm gonna tell you all about it after this. And tonight we're happy to present a very special interview with Jan-Bart de Vreede, chairman of the World Wikimedia Foundation, the organization responsible for Wikipedia among other projects, by Julian Baalul, the presenter of our sister show, Sur le Web. With me in the studio for some commentary is chief editor of the Tube, Yaron Tenbrink. Good evening.
Hi.
So what is Wikimedia and why is it so important?
Well, Wikimedia, everybody knows Wikipedia, of course, everybody's using it, but Wikimedia is in charge of other projects, less popular and less. But the main thing is it's the biggest collaborative project in the history of mankind. I mean, we're talking about tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people just participating in this amazing experiment. If we would have talked about it 10 years ago, it would have sounded like complete science fiction. How can you do an encyclopedia just with volunteers writing all kind of, essays and contributing to the accumulated knowledge? But it's happening, and it's happening so fast, and it's works so good that we forget how unique and special that is.
Okay, well, we have a whole special show about it, so let's watch the first part of this exclusive interview and get back to the subject later.
Hello, Jan-Bart. Thank you so much for being with us. You're in Israel for a few days, and thank you for giving some time for this interview. You know, I remember when I was in the high school in 2003, 2004, quoting Wikipedia was okay. It was a normal source. It was something good for homework. But a few years later, in the university, quoting Wikipedia was one of the worst things to do. It was a very bad thing to do. How do you explain this change?
I think it's not so much a change. Actually, first of all, thank you for having me. I think it's not so much a change as it's in a different level. In schools, children are encouraged to find more information, and the internet is one of the sources. And part of media education is also making sure that people understand what a source means, etc. In the academic world, citation and references are much more important than in the normal primary or high school. I think what you experience in university is also changing rapidly, though, because what you can see is more and more university classes are including Wikipedia content, are encouraging students to share and update Wikipedia content, and admire the way we use citation and references.
But still, how can you make the content of Wikipedia more professional and more useful for the professor in the universities, let's say?
It has to do with references. You have to make sure that everything you quote in an article is something that you have a reference to back that up. And this is why you see so many articles are the start of a good research trail by a student, is by looking at the article and then going back into the sources. And that's something our volunteers are very good at. They're getting more and more citation, more and more sources which are correct.
Where in Israel, it's one of the most exciting and one of the most interesting places in the world. But how can you make a difference in Wikipedia between a war of propaganda and real fact in the pages related to the Israeli-Arab conflict?
I think any page that's contentious, it comes down to trying to define the neutral point of view, which is our main principle, as clearly as possible. And in some situation that's much harder than other situations. If you have a clear source, that's fine. But if there's all kinds of propaganda or marketing around entertainment, for example, it's much harder to do so. And I think we come back down to the principle of trusting the individual volunteers to sort out the sort of middle ground and to make sure we try and get as neutral point of view as possible. And that is as possible. And we obviously there's a lot of articles where neutral, no such thing even exists, because even naming the article, for example, could already imply something.
So you think, and it's the whole idea of Wikipedia, you think that by getting more and more people involved in the content will be better and it will be a better quality. But how can you be so sure about that?
Because history has proven us right. I think that the idea is that when we started this, nobody thought you could build an encyclopedia the way we did. And we did. And not only once, we've done it so many times in different languages. And as more people look at an article and we have more eyeballs checking out the content and everything else, it becomes of a higher quality. People discuss things. Most of our volunteers are very inquisitive and ask the right questions, like why are you saying this, or this is not sourced, or this is an interpretation which seems a little bit more like propaganda rather than a neutral point of view. And especially on the contentious pages, there's a lot of people watching them and making sure that we do try and keep as neutral as possible. And that only works if we have larger number of people. One thing we know for sure, if there's fewer number of people, then we definitely will start having more problems. So our faith is always in the individual volunteer and a large number of individual volunteers.
We'll get back to that interview. In the meantime, Mr. de Vreede is visiting Israel as a special guest of the Wikipedia Academy Convention in Tel Aviv. A national survey conducted for the event shows that 84% of the Israeli public trusts Wikipedia and 74% of it does not look for other sources when searching for information. Good news for Wikipedia, not so much for the Israeli public. But before we go any further, let's take a look at the Israeli Wikipedia prankster Nimrod Kamer, who became kind of a media sensation in Britain because of his Wikipedia trolling skills.
Have you checked your Wikipedia lately? I think I made some changes. Yeah. I'm a Wikipedia editor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, everyone is, aren't they?
I just put that you dated Emily Blunt, and you might have an illicit child with her. It's there on your personal life.
Oh, with Emily Blunt?
Yeah, it's there.
Well...
If it bothers you, I can change it back. I can put it back as it should be for 70 quid.
What, you want 70 quid?
Because
I haven't got a child with Emily Blunt.
Yeah, and I think your birth year is also wrong.
My birth year?
Yeah.
Well, what does it say?
1965.
It is.
Quid for the Wikipedia fixing. If you need the Wikipedia fixing, yeah.
We already gave you some time, right?
Yeah. Just telling my prices for... And also there's something on the Wikipedia about the royal family like burning some of your outfits, like Eugenie and Beatrice. They burn them or something in the end.
Sorry? What?
But I can change it back. Julian can pay me like 100 quid, for example, and then I fix all the changes I made in the Wikipedia article.
That's called blackmail, isn't it?
Just deleting stuff.
Yeah, such a prankster. Tell me, Yaron, are we here in Israel a nation of Nimrod Kamers? Is there a serious problem with the Israeli Wikipedia?
Yes, there is. Not because we're a nation of Nimrod Kamers, but because there are like a few Nimrod Kamers who can really kind of control the Israeli Wikipedia. Wikipedia is all about the numbers. In the States, for example, and in England, in other English-speaking countries, where you have thousands of contributors and volunteers writing pages for Wikipedia, it would be very hard for one individual to create a substantial change to this value or that value. But in Israel, because there are so few, it can be really centralized, and someone like Nimrod Kamer can make fun of it, but other people can just use it for their own political agenda or other agendas.
Yeah, but as we heard, Mr. de Vreede said that issues like the Israeli-Palestine conflict, the volunteers take neutrality as their value, but that's not the case here, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the ideal of Wikipedia, of course, that people will tend to try to be neutral and try to be factual. But experience shows that in some controversial pages, the most controversial page, by the way, in Wikipedia history is the page titled Israel. That has been changed thousands and thousands of times by all kind of people with all kind of political agendas. And in Israel itself, the Hebrew Wikipedia, there are numerous pages where people just spend time arguing and changing back, and it's a real political battlefield because people trust Wikipedia so much. You know, the version that appears there is the truth, and that makes it a real battlefield for people with political agendas. And because there are so few people, it's really easy to get control over. And we're seeing that again and again in the Israeli Wikipedia, but also the Anglo-Saxon Wikipedia.
So the whole conflict is basically in one page.
Yeah, the whole conflict in one page. Just go to the Israel page history of editing, and you can see arguments on top of arguments by volunteers trying to push their angle of true history. And I mean, anyone can make a change, and then the editors have to decide which change stays. That's like a real war zone.
Okay, well, Wikimedia is not just about Wikipedia. It is a grand vision that aims to revolutionize the way we share information about the world we live in. That's where the next part of the interview with Mr. Jan-Bart de Vreede takes us. Let's go.
Let's talk now about the Wikimedia Foundation. Wikipedia is for free. It's a free access all over the world, and there is no advertising on the website. So how can you survive with that?
That's a great thing. By trusting on the volunteers, we also trust in individual donations, and we get a lot of them. So, like most of our budget,
How many do you get from?
like $500,000 last time around, and we gained $50 million at least by the fundraising. And these are all individual people who donate small amounts of money, and we call for them to donate depending on which project you are, a certain time of the year or throughout the year. And we have a really great fundraising team that really helps to make sure that donations are easily collected across the world in different currencies, etc.
We've seen in California some huge companies like Google and Facebook that get involved in public issues, in political issues. And we've seen also troubles in the Mozilla Foundation about the same-sex marriage. Does the Wikimedia Foundation get involved in political issues?
We try not to, but it's unavoidable because some of the things that are happening across the world are leading to a closed internet and are sort of not helping our cause of sharing the sum of all human knowledge. So we have to be involved and to make sure that we get our viewpoint out there. We've had US legislation on SOPA, which we protested against by putting Wikipedia on black for a day. In Italy, we've had similar protests, and other countries have done similar things. While we try to stay away, we cannot stay away if it interferes with our mission, because our mission is to share it with everyone equally and everyone has the same access.
So the foundation get involved only in political issues related to the internet and the freedom, but not to other political issues?
We try not to, because it's not part of our mission.
Okay.
And we're small. Compared to Google and to Facebook, we're talking about 185 employees.
Yeah, but still it's one of the biggest websites in the world.
Yeah, but not thanks to us, it's thanks to all the volunteers. So they also decide if we should get involved. I mean, if we should turn Wikipedia page on black, that's not a decision the foundation makes, it's a decision the foundation facilitates for the volunteers to make. We make it possible.
In some countries, people can access for free without any internet connection to Wikipedia. And we've seen an amazing video in South Africa that some children ask to get for free Wikipedia without any internet connection. It's an amazing project. Do you plan to do that for all the African countries?
For us, for me personally, it's one of the most exciting things we do. Wikipedia Zero is enabling people who don't have a broadband connection or even a mobile phone with a data subscription to, for free, access Wikipedia on that phone anyway. And it gives us a whole new audience which we could never reach before. We are focusing on countries where this makes the biggest difference, so where we reach new audiences. For example, we talked about this. I'm from the Netherlands, and we talked about what if a Dutch company would come to the office and say, we want to offer Wikipedia Zero. Our staff would just say, we're not interested. Because most of your country can already, if not everyone, can already access Wikipedia for free through some way, and mobile subscriptions are in no way as expensive. So our added value to our mission is not as big as it is in South Africa or in a lot of other countries. So it really depends on the situation within that country and the dynamics. And you can see a lot of African and South American countries and Asian countries have sort of leapt the wire and have gone straight to mobile with smartphones, etc. So getting our content on those devices and in a friendly and cheap way, that's our priority.
So we understand that the key for you is education. And tomorrow you're going to meet with the Israeli Minister of Education. What do you plan to tell him?
I've talked about this before. I think there's two things that are really relevant. One is the discussion on Wikipedia as source material, for example, for open educational resources. So I'm also involved with the Kenniscent Foundation, who I work for in the Netherlands, who do a lot of OER promotion, so promotion of teachers making their own lesson plans and sharing them. And it really energized the educational publishers market. And it really energized the ability of teachers to, once again, own their own lesson plans. So that's one thing I'm going to talk about. And the second is a project which I'm involved with as well, which is the WikiKids project, where children write their own version of Wikipedia for kids and by children in their own language. And it's a really interesting way to involve them in media education and to teach them, like if you press the edit button, you can edit it. What does that mean for other things on the internet? How reliable are they? And what does it mean to have a source, and etc.? So these are two things which I'll be raising tomorrow, hopefully.
Thank you very much for being with us, Jan-Bart.
Thank you so much.
Yaron, shortly, can Wikimedia do for education what Wikipedia did for the encyclopedia?
It definitely can. I mean, especially in the third world, if information is accessible for free, that can revolutionize a lot. It can completely revolutionize education, and it should happen. It's the thing that Wikimedia does.
I'm all for it. Thank you very much for being here. And before we close this shared knowledge special, it's time to give another look to this classic collegehumor.com satire on Wikipedia, giving voice to the main criticism against it. And always remember, everything you know is wrong. Goodbye. Enjoy the video.
My name is Professor Wikipedia. Let's get started, shall we? In most chemical reactions, the electrons are either forming or breaking bonds with each other, as you shall see here. Ryan Seacrest contains many